And welcome to Life in DNA with Amanda Renee. I'm Amanda. Thanks for joining me. Let's see. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Hashimoto's. And if you've been here before, you know that I struggle with that. And yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about trying to tell the difference between being sick and knowing if you're in a Hashi flare. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Just a little warning up front. There will be some, TMI information there. I'm a woman, so a lot of my issues are female issues. And so if you don't want to hear the TMI stuff, you might want to fast forward just a few minutes. But before we jump into that, I want to remind you that over on my Patreon page at Life in DNA with Amanda Renee, I have 2 book clubs going. One is a high school classics book club, and my daughter and I are going through The Count of Monte Cristo, the unabridged version, and we just recorded our first bi-weekly episode where we go over what we've read so far. I think we got to chapter 19. So yeah, if you sign up for that, you'll get a reading schedule so you can keep up with us. And like I said, bi-weekly episodes of us discussing what we've read, going over the themes, and discussing all of that. There's also a chat on there, and so if you join the book club, you can put your thoughts and your questions on there, and we'll discuss it on the next episode that we record. I also have the Studious Wives book club, and we are going through The Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle this time, and I've got my first video up over the first 5 chapters, and I'm reading through for the next set. So in about another week and a half, I will put out another video over the next set of chapters. And if you sign up for that, again, you get the reading schedule so you can keep up with me, and bi-weekly videos where we can discuss what's going on. I've said that if enough people were joined and were interested, we could do like a live video so that you can chat, ask questions and post comments as they're coming in. Otherwise, there will be a chat on there as well. And yeah, so I hope you join me over there. I think it'll be fun. But yeah, let's get started on Hashimoto's. If you have Hashimoto's, then you know my struggle. I've had it, at least I've known that I've had it for 4 or 5 years now, I think. And yeah, I struggle a lot. While I was kind of mentally preparing for recording this today, I had kind of an epiphany for me. I've realized that my period and my flares go hand in hand. I never put that together before, partly because when I right before I discovered I had Hashimoto's, I became so severely anemic that it was pretty dangerous. They were this close to giving me a blood transfusion. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. They started me on iron. They put me on medication to stop my period completely. And so I built back up, and I didn't have a period for a few years since I was on that medication. I would still get flares. I would still have things. Other medications have helped. Allergies were a big trigger for me. I'm allergic to cotton, and I live in Oklahoma, and there's cotton fields everywhere. And then when they spray the defoliant on the cotton. I'm allergic to that as well. And I would be so sick, like right around this time of year. I would be extremely sick and for weeks. And I had a doctor put me on low dose naltrexone, and that was a game changer. That and adding montelukast, which is the off-brand of Singular, and it's an asthma medication. And I do struggle with like exercise-induced asthma. So those two medications combined have really, really, really helped my allergies. And I don't tend to get as sick from allergies like that, where I used to multiple times a year be really, really sick for weeks. And so those have helped. And then having my period stopped helped. Well, this year I was starting to have some other issues. I mean, I'm in my upper 40s, so perimenopause is a thing. And even though I wasn't having periods, I think I'm still entering that. So my hormone levels were kind of off, and I wanted to get them checked. I was also afraid of the medicine that they had me on to stop my periods. I was afraid of it upping my chances of breast cancer because I had heard that. And so I wanted to get off of it and see what my hormones were doing and see if I could get help with that. That was back in like February or March. And let me tell you, it has been a struggle to get not only my hormones tested correctly, but to get someone to really listen and help me get them to the levels they need to be. So I went off of that, and it hit me today. I don't know why it took this many months to hit me, but it hit me today that I keep getting sick right after my period. And my periods are very, very heavy, which is why I was on the medication to begin with. After the summer, I got back on the medication. I've been on the medication for over a month now. But it did not stop my period this month. And actually my period was very awful this month. And here comes the TMI part, sorry. But just so you understand what's going on, and if you identify with this as a woman with Hashimoto's, I had what I thought was going to be a regular period, and then day 6, which for me is normally kind of like an off day. Like, you think you're done, but you know you've got that one day left. But I usually don't bleed at all, if much. And I was working preschool at church and had to run to the bathroom because it was not just heavy, but like passing clots heavy. And that kept up through the afternoon and evening, which, I mean, that would be normal for me on like day 2, 3, 4, not day 6. And then the next day 7, I woke up around early in that morning, 5 something that morning, with really bad cramps, and then again just passing clots, and that kept up for about 3 hours in the morning. And so I was kind of freaking out because that should have been my day. I was done, and now it's heavier than it had been the first few days of my period. That kept up. That was Monday. That kept up until Friday. So day 11, I was still bleeding, still passing clots, and it was freaking me out. Because I've never gone that long. I've gone, 8 or 9 days, but with just a little bit of bleeding. Nothing like this, ever. And so it was really scaring me. I already had an appointment with my new doctor to get my hormones tested again, so that she could kind of see what was going on, because stuff just still isn't right. in my body. I can tell that something's off. Um, and so when I went in and told her what was going on with the bleeding, I'm like, it's day 11. It's bad. I've lost a lot. She added a whole bunch of other labs to check, my blood count and everything else. And then, so on top of losing all the blood for 11 days that I had already lost, I had to go and get blood taken out of me. So by the time I went to, it was the county fair that day, and by the time I went to help my kids work the concession stand there, I was dizzy and about ready to pass out, and just pretty well freaked out by the whole thing. I had one day, I think, with nothing, maybe 2, and then another day, like a typical day 7, but it was actually like day 12 or 13 or day 13 or 14 that I actually officially ended the period, and it was just so weird for me. And then immediately, like the next day, I woke up feeling like crap. Like, and I know everyone with Hashimoto's probably has a different symptoms for their flare. I tend to get, like I always did before, with an allergy reaction. It always starts in my sinuses. It's so hard to explain, but like I feel feverish but have no fever, and my head feels fuzzy. I get headaches, and I just feel like crap. I'm really, really, really tired. Like unexplainably tired. Just really run down. And but I know I'm not actually sick. At least I'm pretty sure. I mean, I work with preschoolers every Sunday, and there's always 1 or 2 of them that are coughing, so I'm praying I'm not sick. But I know this feeling well enough to know it's the same thing I've felt every month for the past few months. Every time my period ends, I get sick. Or right around that time. It's right around this time that happens. And so I realized that there's a connection there. I don't know if it's the loss of blood. I don't know if it's just what the hormone fluctuations, what your body goes through when you have a menstrual cycle. I don't know for sure, what the connection is there, but it definitely triggers something in me. I don't remember getting like this often when I was on the medication that stopped my periods completely. I'll have to, I don't know if I can actually, if I have the memory to think back that far, or ask my husband if he remembers me being this sick. I do not feel like I've been sick the past few years as often as I have been this year. And of course, those years I was taking medication and not having a period. My next option, personally, I think, is making a decision to whether to stay on the medication. I know I might have to up it, but I know it will stop, my period, and I won't have to deal with, bleeding that much anymore. But I have noticed as soon as I got back on the medication, my headaches came back almost every day. I have a headache, and sometimes medication touches them, sometimes it doesn't. I usually have to go to sleep with an ice pack on the back of my neck. The other night I tried taking headache medicine before bed. That didn't touch it. I gave it like an hour or 2 to kick in. It didn't touch it, so I had to take a muscle relaxer, which they had given me for my chronic headaches before. Put an ice pack on the back of my neck and one on my forehead, just to get it to go away so I could go to sleep. That's how bad that one was. And I have those, they vary in degrees, but sometimes they get that bad. And I have that almost every day. And I've noticed since I got back on the medication, my legs ache. Now, I do remember I would have to deal with this off and on lately. That may be a hormone thing, I don't know. But now that I've been on the medication, it's almost every night. And it's really annoying. Not to mention, I don't like taking, pain medication all the time. That's not good for you either. So I'm thinking that I'm to the point of, do I want to live with headaches and body aches every day of my life, or do I just want to have a partial hysterectomy and stop my periods that way and not be sick? My only drawback with that is that surgery is such a permanent thing. Medication I can start and stop as I want to. I really do not want to get, they've said an ablation is an option. I've heard so many stories on both sides of that. I've heard some people say it was the best thing they've ever done. They don't regret it. Everything was great. And then I've heard the other people say they ended up having to get a hysterectomy anyway. And they went through all of the pain and stuff of the ablation for nothing, or that it made their bleeding worse, which, I borderline anemic anyway. That's not what I need to do. So, I'm looking at probably making the decision of whether or not to do the permanent solution to that. But anyway, so when I had the epiphany that it was connected to my cycle, on one hand, I started bawling. I was like, on one hand, it was such a relief to know, because why am I getting sick all the time? It feels like every time I turn around, I'm getting sick. And it would be if it was once a month that you're getting sick. That would feel like that. And so I didn't realize what it was until today. And I'm glad I made the connection. But that also makes it more pressing for me to decide on what to do about it. I'm waiting still for all of the test results on my hormones back. But what I want my doctor to understand is I don't want normal levels. I'm in perimenopause probably, and I don't want normal levels for perimenopause is dropping, and that means things are not operating the way they should. I want optimal levels, and I need her to help me get to that. And so I can't wait. They said that some of the test results would take about a week, and that's coming up in a few days. So I'm really hoping I can get to talk to her and actually get her to help me and, get some stuff fixed, because it's pretty miserable. As soon as I get over one thing, then it's like, it's time for my period, and then I get sick again, and that's miserable. So once I figured that out, I decided to Google it, because I'm like, what is anybody else having this? Is it just me and my body? Because honestly, to me, it's always felt like when I lose that much blood or I have a period, it's almost like something gets stirred up in me and then it causes a reaction. That's how I've always seen it, and that's what it felt like to me. But I Googled it, and it is a thing, and I'm not the only one that has that happen, which, I guess that's a good thing. I feel sorry for the other women, though. So I just typed in Hashimoto's and feeling sick after menstruation, and it said that women with Hashimoto's disease may be more likely to experience an inflammatory response during the first half of their menstrual cycle, which would be right after you have your period, that week after, which can lead to flare-ups in the second half. So this is because the immune system is suppressed during ovulation to prevent immune cells from attacking a fertilized egg, which can allow other immune activities to increase. These activities can include attacks on the thyroid gland, which are characteristic of Hashimoto's. And then, it had, and then there was another one, that was the AI answer. There was another one that said the increase in inflammatory processes in a menstrual cycle. It's problematic for people with autoimmune diseases because it can exacerbate symptoms, eventually leading to a flare-up. Often, flare-ups show up in the second half of your menstrual cycle after inflammation has built up in the first half of your cycle. And then there were other things people were asking about it flaring up after a period. And I had never put two and two together that I remember. And so I'm happy to know that that's what it is, but now it makes me dread my next cycle. That's good news, and it's scary news, I think, at the same time. But if anybody out there is listening and you have Hashimoto's, what do you do to lessen your flares? I haven't associated this with my Hashimoto's in so long, because a few months ago I got sick, and it was it turned into a sinus infection. So I just thought I caught something. Until now, as like I said, I haven't connected it with the Hashimoto's, and so I just keep thinking I'm catching something, and it's only now that I realized it's a flare. And so what do you do to make a flare go away? I know that I need to rest more. It's really not something I get to do a lot. Not that I'm up being physical all the time, but I'm always having to do something. Go get groceries, take the kids here and there, teach the kids all morning, try to get my daughter to calm down after she has a teenager episode. Putting up laundry, doing the laundry, just taking a shower and getting my makeup on. It sometimes feels like a chore. Cooking supper, getting that done. I finally do get to rest in the evenings, but it doesn't always feel like rest when, life is just going on around you. The kids dinging about things, or fussing, or not going to bed on time. And I feel like I get this little bitty tiny window, if I stay up late enough, which isn't great for me either. But if I stay up late enough after the kids have finally gone to bed, that I get to kind of wind down. But then I'm antsy about staying up late. And so I just don't feel like I ever get to just breathe and relax and actually unwind. I don't really feel like I get to do that a lot. And I think that just adds to the flare. I think that doesn't help me get over it. Because a lot of times they say, remove the stress in your life. Well, I can't really do that. And that's hard. I need to figure out a way to do that. I don't know what, I've racked my brain for years trying to figure that out, and I can't. I don't know what it is I need to do differently, but I need to find a way to chill out some. But yeah, I'm trying. I need to go get, I guess, one of my books on Hashimoto's and figure out some other tips on how to bring myself out of a flare, if you can even do that. I take my medication like I'm supposed to. I do all of that right. I'm trying to eat better, and trying to get back into working out, because again, they say that that's supposed to help you with things. But when I'm in a flare, I can't, because I have done that before, and that will every single time push me further into the flare, so I can't do that one. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck. So if you have been through this and you know what I'm talking about, and you have any tips for me, please, please, please email me or message me on Instagram or something, and or comment on my Instagram post and let me know. what it is you do to help yourself, because like I said, it's been so long since I've had a flare that I knew was a flare that I've gotten out of practice in what it is I need to do. And so yeah, besides trying to rest and take it easy, I don't really know what else to do for myself. So yeah, that would be great if you had any information to help me. And so don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I bounce back and forth between talking about health issues and Hashimoto's and hormone issues and homeschooling and the genetics when I get to take the time to study that. I did get online and look. We are gearing up for Scott Fest. We're taking the kids this year, and I'm so excited. And it's only like a few weeks away. And last year, all I knew was one of the Scottish surnames in my husband and I's ancestry. But I've been doing a lot more research this year, and I have a whole list this year. And so I want to take that with us. A lot of times they have booths for the different clans. My husband saw that the main clan in my ancestry is Bruce, like Robert the Bruce, and they will be having a booth this year. I'm so excited. Last year they didn't have one. None of our surnames that we knew of were there this last year. So I'm hoping now that I have a bigger list and that the Bruce one will be there, that we'll be able to visit some of them. But yeah, and I'm hoping that, if they have any t-shirts from the clans that stand out to us, that we'll get some of that. But yeah, I'm excited for that. So yeah, I will be definitely talking about that when we get back. And so yeah. And anytime I make a discovery when I'm working on the research, then I definitely start talking about that. But we started school last week, so I have not had time to do ancestry research just recently. But yeah, so I hope you join me again. And don't forget to join me for one of the book clubs on my Patreon, at Life and DNA with Amanda Renee. And I will see you next week. Bye.